This is Mr. Abdul Wahab Jamal. I'd like to welcome all of you to a new session of English language. Today we are going to deal with Cambridge International English as First Language, lower secondary uh, stage. In this session, we are going to deal with the series or the story of the grandmother's song. The session is 2.3, Growing Up. We are still talking about that granddaughter who started to become braver and better and bolder. She is growing up. If you remember in 2.1, she was a little girl. She was a mute. She was a crying girl. She was fragile and very afraid. While in 2.2, she started to interact more when she pointed out to the way or to the route when they asked her, where can we go to the forest? She pointed out, and then she saw or found the hummingbird, the wounded bird, and she started or tried to helping the bird. So the grandmother commented saying that is progress. That's progress. In today's session, we will see that things are going better and better, and she becomes to be, as I said, more brave and more bold. So the learning objectives for today, we are going to perform an unseen text in groups, or we are going to learn how to perform it. We will consider how dialogue and reporting verbs convey the character and voice. We are going to comment on the effect of the figurative language and to discuss the story structure, including endings. To predict an ending and to say which ending do you prefer and why. Which ending is most likely to happen. Okay? Let's start going. First, let's revise or remember with each other some concepts or some terms, if you wish to say. Dialogue, it's the words that characters say in a story, and it helps to show what a character feels or thinks. Example, I don't do it, or I didn't do it, or I don't think so. Anything can be put inside inverted commas or two quotations like this one. It is a dialogue or a direct speech said by somebody. I have to say, shouted the boy, said the boy, yelled the boy, etc. Reporting verb, a verb which is used to describe how someone says something, like said, asked, whispered, murmured, muttered, murmured, and so on. I'm sorry, he whispered. So the verb whispered is a reporting verb. I didn't do it. It's a dialogue or a direct speech. Figurative language, it's language that uses comparison or symbols or unliteral words to make writing more creative. Her words were a warm blanket on a cold night. Okay? It's figurative because the blanket or the warm blanket is not real. It's a figurative language. It's unliteral, not literal, illiteral, in order to let the meaning uh, or the image simple in the minds of the reader. Mood, it is the feeling. The feeling or the atmosphere created by the words or actions in the story. A sad mood might come from slow, soft words. Okay, so usually sad words create sad mood. Happy words create happy mood, happy feeling, happy reaction, if you wish to say. The pace is the speed. Pace is the speed at which the story moves. You have fast speed or fast pace, and you have slow pace. Okay, it depends on the mood you want to create, and it depends also on suspense or tension if you wish to build it or not. So it can slow down during important moments or speed up during actions. She ran faster. Faster, of course, is a word which shows speed or high speed, and the speed here ups the pace. Character development is something very important, and I think this is the aim goal or the axe of our story, because we are showing the character development through the story, through 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. This granddaughter is becoming older, bolder, braver, uh, and that show character development or a change in the attainment or a change in the traits. So how a character change or grows throughout the story. The granddaughter goes from being scared into confident. Story ending, it's the way you ended or conclude your story. So the way the story concludes, which can be happy, sad, surprising, depending on the character's journey or the writer's uh, purpose, let's say. So we have, for example, unexpected ending. We have, for example, open ending, happy ending, sad ending. So a story might end with character learning a life lesson. It depends on the writer and on the journey as well of the character. So these are keywords or key concepts you have to understand before starting the session. Okay? And in order to perform an unseen text, to improvise or improvise how, for example, some words, you have some challenge in reading the unseen text aloud. First of all, the first challenge, not knowing all the words or their meanings. How you can solve or overcome this challenge? Of course, you have to read the text, okay? You may not have read the text before. You may not have read the text before, so understanding the meanings quickly is key. You have to understand the contextual meaning. You have to search for the keywords and understand what are or what's the meaning of the word in order to understand or to know how to perform it. Because you cannot perform something you don't understand. And number two, you have to read with expression. While or when you understand the meaning, you can perform. You can give an expression. You are happy if the word is positive. You are sad if the word is negative. It is important to adjust the tone of your voice and the speed at which you speak to show how the character feels. Now, tips to improve your performance. You have to read ahead. Look a few words or sentence ahead while reading to know what comes next. So try to prepare 2 or 3 lines in advance. Change the volume and the pace, of course, to make the reader interacted or interested. You have to change or to vary the tone. Speak louder or softer depending on the mood or the event happening in the story. Use gestures as well. It's very important to move your hands, your body, your face expressions, and so on. Why? To let the reader engaged again and to give the reader unverbal message or communication to understand what is the text talking about. So help to express the character's feeling with your hands, your body, your facial expressions. Okay? Before starting with the reporting verbs, let's read with each other. Okay? Extract 5. And then let's listen to extract 6. Okay? And let's see how the granddaughter today is performing or is doing. And let's see what's the comment from the side of the grandmother.
Extract 5. One afternoon, trembling granddaughter was browsing at a market stall when the merchant accused a child of stealing something he had not taken. She watched the angry face of the merchant as he jabbed his finger at the child. Though her heart beat loudly, trembling granddaughter approached the man and said, "This boy did not take anything. I have watched him. Please do not scream at him." The merchant just snarled in reply, so she asked, "How much money have you lost?" 10 pesos, he muttered. The girl reached into her pocket and gave him all her spending money. "Ah, this is real progress," grandmother remarked, as trembling granddaughter told her tale, gasping for breath, as she had run all the way home. Then grandmother took her beloved grandchild on her broad lap and stroked her for a very long time. "My little one, listen well," she sang. "The world is a frightening place for people without dignity. Today you showed your dignity when you stood tall between the earth and sky. To that I add the dignity I have been given, the dignity of my grandmother and of her grandmother before her."
Very nice, very, very nice. So today the granddaughter is talking. That's real progress, to be honest. So today she uh, talked, she commented, she tried to defeat the boy who was accused of stealing, although he didn't steal anything. And the merchant is a liar one. And the merchant needs money. He wants money. Okay? So the girl witnessed it. The girl witnessed the whole scene. The boy didn't steal. And she said, "The boy didn't take anything. I have watched him. Please do not scream at him." She is using her voice. Okay, the merchant snarled in reply. And then she tried to help. "How much money do you need? Have you lost?" Okay, and then he said 10 pesos. It's only one apple, for God's sake. And then he said 10 pesos. So that's around 10 times. Do you understand me? 10 times of what the boy was accused of stealing. It is a number for her. And he muttered. Okay, to mutter is to say something not real or not true. Do you understand me? You are lying when you said muttered. You say it with shaky voice or uh, a way which shows that you are not correct. So the girl reached into her pocket and gave him all the money she spent. Of course, the grandmother said, "That's real progress, real progress." And she started to sing again. Whenever the grandmother is singing for her granddaughter, it means she is trying to pass some wisdom or some gift from which she took from her grandmothers in order to pass to her granddaughter. Do you understand me? And then they said here, if you noticed, she showed, "Today you showed your dignity, and I will give you some dignity of mine." Okay? And they said here, "for long time." For very long time. Okay? That means the song is long. You understand what I mean? And again, "I will give you the dignity of my grandmother and her grandmother before." So that's the traditions or the song or the value which she inherited from her grandmother, and she is giving to granddaughter now. Let's read now extract 6 with each other, and then we will try to comment on everything, okay?
Extract 6. Trembling granddaughter sensed a strange pride pour through her body. She felt bigger and stronger than usual, and her face felt vibrant and warm. How many times did grandmother stroke her granddaughter? How many times did she sing to her? she did it many, many times, for many weeks, and for many years. She stroked trust and courage, skill and dignity into trembling granddaughter, and her song went so deep that it moved through the girl's flesh into her muscles, into her blood, into her heart, and finally into her bones. Granddaughter grew up to be trusting and trustworthy, generous and kind. No one even remembered that she once ran from armadillos. Soon she grew up into a strong and confident woman, rich in laughter, delighting in everything around her. Now granddaughter had children of her own, but still, on occasions, she laid her head in grandmother's lap. She understood well the language of grandmother's hands, and so, as the old woman's fingers traced their familiar path, granddaughter smiled and closed her eyes.
Very nice. So now the granddaughter is growing up. She is a mother herself. Now she has daughters or she has children. But still she is visiting or going to the grandmother in order to sit in her lap, for example, in order to listen to her, in order to touch her fingers, and try to what? Try to take some wisdom from the grandmother. Of course, the extract started by the same song or character change or development. Now she is becoming more courageous, okay? She is not trembling anymore, and the song or the value or the skill or whatever good thing the grandmother is trying to pass for the granddaughter is inside her bones, her muscles, her body, her veins, and her heart, in everything. Of course, that will transform or it will reflect what? It will reflect rich in laughter, delight in everything around her, confident woman. She is growing up. Okay, so the granddaughter is a mother herself. Okay, so the text grandmother's song is a narrative story that follows the emotional and personal growth of a young girl, as Unit referred to, trembling daughter or trembling granddaughter. The writer stressed on this word many, many times, okay, to show you that she was trembling but not trembling anymore. Who gains strength later, confidence, and wisdom from her grandmother. This text uses figurative language, dialogue, reporting verbs to convey characters' emotions and development, which is common feature in the stories aimed at teaching life lessons and personal growth. I'm talking about the text features and the genre conventions of the extract 5 and 6. Conventions or characteristics of the genre, the narrative, character development. The daughter or the granddaughter starts as a timid, frightened child and gradually becomes confident and strong daughter or adult. There is a dialogue between the characters, particularly through the grandmother's word, and it used to express advice and life lessons. We have lots of figurative language in the text. We have powerful metaphors, personification, images, or imagery in order to describe the feelings and the actions and the theme, the central message, the most important concept we want to deliver today: dignity, courage, wisdom, familial bond, and personal growth. What is the text talking about? The story is about a granddaughter, as we said, who is initially scared and unsure of herself. Extract 5 is specifically, okay, talking about the granddaughter witnesses a merchant accusing a child of stealing. I'm trying to explain the text or what's the story. Despite her fear, she stands up to the merchant. She stands tall, okay, bravely, showing courage. Her grandmother praises her very much because she showed dignity. It's an important word today. When she defends the innocent child. The grandmother teaches her dignity is important, although we have lots of people who lost dignity, and you have to show how to be proud of yourself because of this dignity. In extract 6, the granddaughter, of course, here we have a contrast between the character of the granddaughter and the character of the merchant. Be careful to this. That one has dignity, that one doesn't have dignity, the merchant. In extract 6, however, the granddaughter feels a sense of a pride and strength. She becomes better now. Okay? Because of the song, she became like this. She grows into a strong, confident adult. She has children now for her own. She learns how to value trust, courage, and dignity thanks to her grandmother's teaching. And she becomes a person who is generous, kind, full of joy. And she continues to cherish the lessons she learned from her grandmothers, and she pays her grandmother's visits as well. Okay? Remember that the granddaughter evolves from a frightened child into a strong, confident adult, and the grandmother teaches her valuable life lessons about dignity, courage, and trust. Remember that the story highlights the importance of family wisdom, passing down knowledge, traditions, and good values through generation. Some powerful words inside the text in order to understand it. Trembling, the meaning is shaking, nervous. Synonym for it, shivering or quivering. Antonym, calm or steady. Effect in using this word in the text to show the granddaughter's fears and vulnerability. Snarled is to speak angrily, to shout. A growled, hissed is a synonym. Smiled, whispered is the antonym. That's positive and that's negative. Effect to describe how merchant is angry and how he was threatening the boy. Muttered, it is to speak quietly, often in a low voice. Why? Because you are lying. Another word, another meaning, mumbled, grumbled. The synonym is to shout, to yell. And that suggests, of course, that the merchant is irritated and is speaking under his breath. Dignity. When you feel proud and honorable about something. Sorry, here we missed OU. OU. You remember you are British students. So, honorable. HONOURABLE. Word processor is dealing in American spelling. So be careful to this. Self-respect is another meaning. Pride is another meaning or another synonym. Antonym, shame, dishonor. Be careful to the OU again. The effect of using this word, dignity, a central theme representing the granddaughter's moral strength and integrity as well. Pride pour through. It's a feeling of a pride flowing inside you. And that give a meaning of confidence, self-worth, while the antonym is humiliation and self-doubt. The effect of using this metaphorical word or phrase to describe the granddaughter's growing confidence and strength. To stroke, it is to touch gently or to move your hand over the body. That's a stroke, okay? To pat or to care, or sorry, to caress, and the antonym, it is to hit, to be violent, to strike. The effect of using this grandmother's loving and nurturing way of imparting wisdom or imparting, sorry, wisdom. Trust and courage, those are positive ideas or themes. It means faith and bravery. Another mean confidence and strength. The antonym is fear and doubt. And the effect of using trust and courage is to show essential qualities that the granddaughter learns to embrace. Okay? Vibrant and warm. It is full of life and energy. Vibrant, dynamic, lively. The antonym, sorry, another synonym radiant and lively. The antonym is cold and dull. And the effect is to reflect that the granddaughter's new confident energy and sense of self, and she is improving. Okay? Now, what about reporting verbs? Reporting verbs are verbs to used or used to show someone how someone is speaking. Different reporting verbs can give us clues about how the character is reacting and what's the mood or the personality of the character. Of course, when you say reporting verbs, you have to have a dialogue for sure. So whenever you have a dialogue, we have reporting verbs. Some reporting verbs to describe the mood or the effect. Said, remember that said is dead. Don't repeat said that much. Use said one time and then try to use other synonyms according to the mood of the speaker. Said, okay, leave me alone. I will put a comma. He said. Effect on the character, neutral, simple statement. When you yell, like leave me alone, and then you will put an exclamation mark. He yelled. That shows anger and frustration. Whispered, very soft and very quiet. Can I ask you to give me 10 minutes alone? Okay, a question, hesitant. I will say he whispered. He is shy, hesitant to say. Show calmness and secrecy. Snarled, you are very angry. The merchant just snarled in reply. Shows aggression or anger, screaming. Muttered, 10 paces, he muttered. Shows soft and perhaps reluctant or ashamed tone because he knew that he is doing something bad, something negative, yet he is continuing doing it. So remember, muttered, mumbled, snarled, screamed, whispered, yelled, said, okay? These are very important verbs or reporting verbs, and you have to know when to use them in a dialogue. Figurative language, as we said, okay, are words or phrases usually the writer use in order to show another meaning, okay, different from the literal meaning, in order to create vivid image, to paint an imagery in your mind. This makes the story more interesting and it will attract the reader more to read. Examples of figurative language found in the story. Trembling granddaughter sensed a strange pride pour through her body. Okay? It could be personification and it could be metaphor. Okay? How? What's the effect? Explain. Pride is compared to a liquid that flows. It could be metaphor and it could be personification. This shows how strong the feeling or of a pride was and how much the character grown up. Another figurative language, she struck the trust and courage, skill and dignity into trembling granddaughter. It is like she is putting something tangible, something real, okay? Pouring or putting something inside her. That's a metaphor, a metaphorical language or image. Trust and courage are treated as things that can be physically added to the granddaughter, symbolizing his growth or her growth. And remember, it is to compare two things or two ideas without using as or like. There is no as or like. While simile is to compare two things or ideas using as or like. Another metaphor, she understood well the language of grandmother's hand. Do we have any grandmother or any language for the hands? Metaphorical image to show that the hands are saying or speaking language. Okay? It could be a personification as well. Showing the deep connection and the love between grandmother and the granddaughter. Her hands are talking. Okay? The character development, remember that we have three characters. The granddaughter, the grandmother, okay? Sorry, two characters, two main characters. The granddaughter, the grandmother. The granddaughter defends the boy from the merchant, and the effect of it she starts to show courage and integrity. The grandmothers struck her, teaching her values like dignity. She learns important life lessons from her grandmother. And when she becomes a strong, confident woman and she has her own children or children for her own, she grows from scared girl, someone who stands tall and confident and responsible as well. Now she has children. Okay? That's the change, the character development from frightened into confident adult. These are very important points, very important themes. Okay? Can I make a chart of growth and development of the granddaughter? Yes, I can. Okay? Granddaughter defends the boy at the market. That's a very important key event. And she talks as well. Okay? She shows courage and stands up for what is right even when she is scared. And this marks the first step towards growing in confidence. They are very important, these key events and effects. Questions in the exam might be like this. Okay? Give an example from the text and show the effect in the checkpoint or in the quizzes. A grandmother teaches her about dignity. Grandmothers help her to understand the importance of self-respect and courage and dignity as well. She learns how to be strong even when facing difficult situations. Another key event when a granddaughter starts to feel pride and strength. She started to change from inside into outside. Okay? People forget or forgot that she was the girl who is afraid. They forget about that or forgot about that. She begins to feel more confident, more strong or stronger, symbolize that her pride pouring through her body. This shows her emotional growth from inside. Okay? Granddaughter grows into a strong, confident woman. She becomes a person who is generous, trusting, brave, and is able to pass off her knowledge into others. Her confidence now shows in every part of life. Okay? She has children. She has responsibilities. Can you end the story? A very important question. Okay? Very important question. We answered 3, 4, 5, okay, and now 6. Granddaughters, I have A and B. Read these two possible endings for the story. We are predicting what might happen in the next session or in the next lesson. A granddaughter's child is also fearful. The granddaughter uses the things she has learned from grandmother in order to help her own child to overcome her fears. Or another ending, granddaughter decides to use the knowledge she has gained from her grandmother in order to help other people in the village. She teaches others how to overcome their fears. So I have two possible endings. What might happen next? Granddaughter will help her own child, or granddaughter will help other children. Discuss the two endings and tell me which one do you like or which one is most likely to happen. Remember, our story is talking about familial bonds. The song passed from generation into other generation. Okay? And how the character changed from weak into strong. I think, okay, ending A, the granddaughters, let's discuss both of them, let's analyze both of them, and then we will choose. A granddaughter's child is also fearful, and the granddaughter uses the things she has learned from her grandmother in order to help her own child to overcome the fears. This ending shows a continuation of wisdom across the generation and passing or transmitting the values and the song from generation into another generation. The granddaughter who learned valuable life lessons from grandmother now uses the same lessons to guide her own child. It highlights the importance of the family traditions and how knowledge is passed down. We are inside the family, from grandmother into the granddaughter, into the grand-granddaughter, and so on. Ending B, okay, she will share wisdom with the village. Granddaughter decides to use the knowledge she has gained from her grandmother to help people of the village, not the family. She teaches others how to overcome their fears. So now she is caring for the community. Effects of ending B. In this ending, granddaughter's personal growth transforms into community impact. Rather than just helping her child, she will use the strength and wisdom to help larger group of people. Can she do this? It suggests that the granddaughter has become a leader, willing to share her learned lessons with the others to help them grow. I don't think she will become a leader because the story didn't talk about many characters. She talks only about the granddaughter and the grandmother. Granddaughter and the grandmother. Which ending most likely to be happen? I think ending A might be more likely as it reflects nurturing role of the granddaughter and continuation of the song. She continues the lesson passed down by her grandmother, especially when we consider the deep bond between the two characters, or we are stressing on the familial bond. The passing of wisdom from the generation into another generation is the central theme and message into this story. Why? Tell me why. The story focuses a lot on the relationship between the grandmother and the granddaughter and how the relationship between generation should be. The granddaughter grows because of her grandmother's guidance, and it seems natural that she would now pass on that wisdom to her child. This creates a full circle where the lessons of the grandmother are preserved and continue. Okay? That's a writing task. Okay? It's a preparation for the next session. For different ending, consider what might happen to the granddaughter as she continues to grow, and will she use her newfound confidence to achieve something big like starting business, helping community, or even facing new challenge? Will you go on a new adventure? Make sure to think about how the character has changed. Okay? I have a writing task and a sample. Imagine that you are the granddaughter. In the story, write a letter to your grandmother explaining how her lessons helped you to grow into person you are today. Use words like dignity, trust, courage, pride in your letter and describe the situation. Boys and girls, dear students, I'm simply asking you to rewrite extract 5 and extract 4. Rewrite these two extracts, okay, as in the shape of a letter, and use the keywords which we learned today in our session. I have a sample of my writing. Dear grandmother, I hope you are well. I wanted to write to thank you for everything you taught me when I was younger. Remember, the granddaughter now is a mother. I was very scared and unsure of myself, but you always showed me the way. You taught me about dignity, how important it is to stand tall. I use the same thing, by the way, with the pride in who I am. I remember the time when I had to stand up for someone who was being treated unfairly, the young boy in the market. And I was so scared, but I remembered your words about courage, and I found the strength to speak out. That moment showed me how much I had grown. Okay? When she fighted the merchant. You also taught me about the trust, how to trust myself and others. I have carried your wisdom with me every day. Now I am proud to be someone who is strong, kind and confident, just like you. Look at that character development and character change. Thank you for everything, grandmother or grandma, because it is informal language. Your lesson will stay with me forever. With all my love, your granddaughter. Okay? Remember that I used the dignity, courage, pride, trust, and all the words. I described specific situation where I showed some qualities or change of character development. I used a correct format of the story, or sorry, of the letter, like starting with the greeting, then setting the purpose of the letter, then saying the body, the what's the important or the main ideas, and then how to close the letter and how to sign out and sign. I used the clear, simple language to show the lesson I've learned. I used the correct spelling, okay? Honor instead of honor in the British way. And I checked the spelling, punctuation, and the grammar errors. I'd like to thank you so much for having me today. Remember that your homework is 2.3 in workbook. Growing up, you have three exercises. The first one, focus, okay? It will show the personality and the mood, explain them, suggest them. And then you have a practice, okay? Apply. I need you to describe the impression of the two characters regarding or recording or according to the uh, reporting verbs, said, whispered, and interrupted, and so on. And then you have the challenge, which is to write your own dialogue featuring the two characters arguing. You have to use descriptive language and you have to use reporting verbs in order to reveal the character's voice. Thank you so much for having me today again. This is Mr. Abdul Wahab Jamal saluting all of you, and see you inshallah in the next session with 2.4.